So these guys are going to go first, so we'll be like, ooh, a little bit easier on the face. Are you ready? Go. Oh, no, no. How do I get to start with that one?
Press F5.
F5. Okay.
Food safety is a major concern in the Chinese market. Numerous scandals have tainted the industry's reputation. Today, we will be discussing the various food safety issues that plague the Chinese food industry, ranging from produce to protein.
China has become a dominant economic force in recent decades, but it was not long ago that China was actively fighting against food shortages. China's accession to the World Trade Organization means food exports and imports have increased. This led to differences regarding food safety with its various trading partners. Food safety is a major issue in China due to the lack of knowledge about contamination and hygiene standards. Many Chinese believe that the food safety system is thoroughly corrupt and concede that nothing can be done, adhering to the traditional Confucian attitude that teaches one to bend like a reed in the wind, never stand against it like a tree. Chinese food processing plants are staffed by workers with little education, the people who are willing to work for seriously low wages, and thus are not yet familiar with the concept of germs, viruses, bacteria, or basic hygiene practices such as washing of hands or avoiding cross-contamination of foods. The residents of China are well aware of safety problems, such as the graph above reveals. These changes can be observed in three main ways. The first is the proliferation and patronage of foreign import stores that were not nearly as popular a decade ago when conditions of food safety remained unknown. The second change reflects behavior regarding eating patterns. Anyone who can afford it avoids street foods, which are notorious for their poor quality. Lastly, the popularity of balcony gardens reveals that residents are well aware that vegetables are among the foods most likely to make one sick, and thus use homegrown supplements.
Farmers all throughout China have voiced their upset after finding their watermelon fields littered with rotten and exploded fruit. They had applied fluorochlorphenuron, a growth accelerator, which led to thousands of inedible watermelons. Fluorochlorphenuron stimulates cell separation, but often leaves melons misshapen and turns the seeds white. The chemical had been used excessively in wet conditions to try and boost profits by getting the fruit to market early. Farmer Ling Ming Su lost over 8 acres of watermelon. Although inedible, Si Jin, director of the Vegetable Research Institute at Qidao Academy of Agricultural Science, claims that they should not harm anyone's health. Another food scandal in July caused Chinese sales to drop drastically. Yum brand stores found a 9% decrease in their sales, while numerous other stores found a 14% decrease. The meat supplier for many American-based restaurants, like Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's, was seen reusing meat that had fallen to the factory floor, along with mixing fresh and expired meat. 6 officials and employees from the supplier have been arrested by Chinese authorities for producing and selling counterfeit products. Shanghai Usi Food Company has since shut down their factories, but consumers are still fearful for their health. Li Zhang received the death sentence with 2 years reprieve on conviction of harming public safety for tainting pork. Clenbuterol, a performance-enhancing drug typically used by athletes to lose weight and gain muscle, was injected into pigs. Clenbuterol can cause nausea, dizziness, headaches, and heart palpitations when consumed by humans. Over 80 people from Japan reported falling ill after consuming poisoned dumplings imported from China. Liu Yeding of Taiyang Food Processing was tried in a Chinese court after he admitted to injecting insecticide into frozen dumplings. He put methamidofos into the dumplings over frustration with his wages and colleagues. 6,244 babies became ill in 2008 because of melamine-tainted formula, which caused kidney stones among infants. At least 6 died. Melamine is typically used in plastics. The chemical contaminated 22 of China's milk manufacturers, including 2 major producers, Meni and Yili Industrial Group. One of the major reasons this problem still exists is the government's refusal to acknowledge it. When the milk scandal was prevalent, Zhao Linhe, a father of one of the victims, created a website to expose the problem and appeal for justice. He was arrested and found guilty for inciting social disorder. Many Chinese workers in the food industry are more concerned with making money rather than producing safe food items. They save money and maximize profits by cutting corners when creating and distributing their products for the public. Greedy corporations dominate the food enterprise in various Chinese areas.
In order to solve China's food safety issues, as revealed by Steve Dickinson, the citizen must be allowed to use the court to obtain damages and thus change the behavior of producers. Furthermore, the producer must know that they will be forced into bankruptcy if the frequency of litigation is too great. Chinese farmers are often poverty-stricken and only survive by supplementing their income through non-agricultural activities. These people consequently ignore health procedures if any financial benefit can be gained. Thus, the government must provide considerable sums of cash to these farmers in order to ensure they follow health guidelines. Justice needs to be brought to the Chinese food industry. The variety of dangerous risks that the enterprise promotes leads to seriously unhealthy conditions for both citizens of China and those of foreign countries that unknowingly fall suspect to these health infractions. Food safety is a major concern in China with serious health risks. Ranging from meat to produce, it has proven itself to be detrimental. Chinese food has been barred from the European Union a number of times, citing issues with food safety, thus causing loss to potential economies and harm to the health of consumers.
Unfortunately, change isn't coming anytime soon, since the Chinese elite still denies that a real problem regarding the condition in which food is manufactured exists. Until there are serious consequences for pollution and outright food fraud, chances are that China is not going to radically address its food safety issues.
So I'll start with you, Tara. Tara, if you had more time, what additional research would you have conducted? Did you feel like there was a weakness in your presentation that you would have looked for more?
Yeah, we definitely didn't look enough into the actual laws that are going against like food safety issues and why some people were arrested and others weren't. So if we did have more time, we would have looked more into the laws in China.
Okay, good. Zalek, you talked about the solution being more litigation, access to the courts, bankruptcy for those producers that don't do anything. How confident are you in that solution?
Well, I think that if the people are able to speak up against the health infractions, because so many of them are being harmed, that these producers who are violating these conditions will be forced into bankruptcy, and thus other producers will know that you can't violate these health guidelines without being punished. It's like reforming the whole industry altogether. They have to realize they have to follow the laws, and there have to be harsh consequences.